Hallelujah!
To the window, to the wall, till the sweat drops down my balls.
Welcome back to ADHD Whiskey, and welcome to day number 5 of the Minnesota Whiskey Elite Blind Whiskey Tasting Advent Calendar of 25 whiskeys. Sometimes when shooting videos, you have to be extra cautious, extra careful. My beautiful wife has to wake up at 4 a.m. to drive an hour and a half to be a nurse. Will I wake up before her to prepare her coffee, breakfast, and pack her lunch? Will I start her vehicle and clear all of the snow off of it? I don't get laid twice a month for nothing. It's just what a good husband does. But in order to get to 4 a.m. alive, I can't be waking her up, screaming and yelling about whiskey directly below her. That's why I'm speaking in such hushed tones. If I wake her up drinking whiskey, then the 5th day of the Minnesota Whiskey Elite Blind Whiskey Tasting Advent Calendar will be the last day that Matt will be revealing the samples. If you know what I mean. So let's get through day number 5, remaining alive. I got the 5th sample here in my pocket. I got pocket whiskey. Sample warms so quickly when it's next to an enormous leg. Oh, by the way, I got some new merch. Link is in the description below. We're not using Teespring anymore. I don't want to talk bad about Teespring, but Teespring's kind of a piece of shit. America. That is a very dizzy whiskey. Got this whiskey all spun up. This whiskey's been rocking around the Christmas tree, if you know what I mean. The color on the 5th whiskey of December is that of a color I would not remember because it is light. It is basically what I would consider to be sort of see-through. Going in for a nose on day number 5. That's German for 5. Pretty sure. Oh, okay. The nose on glass 5 is that of a dusty corn whiskey. It smells very corn forward, very corn grain forward. You know how when you take a cob of corn, you roll it in butter and then you friggin' salt it up good? This smells like if you rolled that cob of corn in butter and then you reached for the salt, but you weren't really paying attention. Instead of grabbing the salt shaker, you grabbed the sugar shaker, if you have one. And then you shook a bunch of sugar on the cob of corn instead of salt. So what this smells like, ultra sweet buttered corn. There is a little bit of a dusty note here. And when I say dusty, I'm not meaning old. I'm not talking about library books, but I'm talking about, it's more like the inside of a barn. You ever walk into a hay-filled barn and you're like, it smells like a barn in here. And then everybody smiles and is extra nice to you and calls you super smart, Matt. You're super smart, Matt. Good job, buddy. Good job. Still not sure why they talk to me like that, or why they compliment me so much. Also been getting a lot of stickers shaped like stars lately for doing basic stuff. Weirdly enough, when I nose this and I get that dusty, sweet corn smell, part of my brain automatically assumes that some nuts are gonna come with it. But weirdly enough, the nut never came. I keep expecting to get nutted on, and I just don't. There's a little bit of caramel coming through here as well, like one of those sugar daddies, the giant caramels on a stick. This doesn't seem like it's gonna be a very complex pour, but the longer it sits in the glass, the more the nose is starting to transition into kind of a complex character. Like Steve Carell in that movie 40-Year-Old Virgin. You start watching the movie and you think you know him already. You're like, oh, it's just some 40-year-old guy who's never gotten any, who collects friggin' figurines, leaves them in a box, and works at an electronics store. But as the movie progresses, you find out that there's so much more to that character. Andy, he rides a bike to work. He's into hot grandmas and he's looking for love. He's open-minded enough to get his chest waxed, and he's a great friend, going on speed dates with the boys from work. Sometimes you run into something that seems super simple, but once you get to know it, it surprises you in ways you never thought it could. That's a smart movie. Day number 5, down the hatch. Ooh, okay. Ew. That is, well, it is Not gonna be in the top 10, so that's good. Based off the smell and first taste, I'm going to immediately jump to a conclusion and say that this might be one of those Kentucky only bottled and bond products, like one of those cheap 4-year bottled and bond products. It is very youthful, it's very corn forward. Although the nose lacked nuttiness, the nut did eventually come when I tasted it. But it is subtle enough to not destroy the pour. It's not harsh and abrasive nuttiness. It's just a stern talking to of nuttiness. Second sip. There is some sweet characteristic on the front, almost like a red fruit. I would say that there's a little bit of thimbleberry on the front. It's like a tart red fruit, and then that thimbleberry transitions into sawdust, like you're putting lumber through a friggin' planer, just. And then you get that dusty corn note, followed on the finish by a respectably sized nut, like a roasted, unsalted peanut, but a rather bland one. When I first smelled this, I was concerned that I wasn't gonna like it at all, but there are some redeeming qualities here. It's at a respectable proof point, probably around 100. It is rather oily, and it does coat the mouth pretty well, although I wouldn't reach for this on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. It is decent. It's all right. Whoa, it's all right. I am not a Swiftie, but I am getting there. Pretty much getting there. Although this pour on day number 5 is not my favorite, I literally couldn't be happier about it, because I'm blind ranking these pours, and turns out it's harder than it looks, and we're only on the 5th day. On the 5th day, I'm blind ranking this whiskey number 22. 5 golden rings. Yellowstone Bourbon hand-picked collection picked by Divine Liquors, 102 proof. I've been called the Divine Liquor before. It's a lie. Not sure where this Yellowstone is sourced from, and not sure the mash bill or the age. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with it, and it did have some desirable things to it, but for me personally, just a bit too corn forward, a bit too young to really get into the fighting spots for the best whiskey in this advent calendar. My name is Matt, this is ADHD Whiskey. Like I always say, keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on remembering that your little elf on the shelf needs to go back to the North Pole every single night. You must encourage the elf before you go to bed to make its run to the North Pole, to give Santa all the tea on your little ones. No matter how drunk that little elf on the shelf gets, no matter how many thimbles of bourbon it's consumed, you need to get that little elf off the shelf and to the North Pole so it can come back the next morning so your children aren't disappointed. I think our elf on the shelf got into the liquor cabinet last night. And by liquor cabinet, I mean garage. And Bubblegum Sparkles indulged too heavily and then went right back to the place that it spent yesterday. So when my children woke up this morning, Bubblegum Sparkles was in the same spot. I can't control what that little thing does after I fall asleep, but I probably could have encouraged her to get off her ass so that my children would be happy today. But maybe all she needed was a little encouragement from me, the big guy. See you tomorrow for day number 6. Holler!